Alright, it's time for March Madness, everyone's favorite time. So, I'm going to give you my top 10 March Madness facts and how to pick your own bracket. 6 or 7 tips of how to pick your own bracket. So, let's start with number 10. So, only once have all 1 seeds made it to the Final Four. That was in 2008. So, if you have 4 1 seeds going into the Final Four, rethink a couple picks because some upsets are bound to happen. The number 9. So the highest scoring game in March Madness history was 149 to 115. That was when LMU beat Michigan, that's a really high score, and especially because there are 2 halves in college basketball, not 4 quarters. So that's a really high score. Number 8 is Larry Brown is the only coach to win in the NCAA and NBA. Not many implications to that, just a pretty cool fact. I mean, winning in both NCAA and NBA. So, in the number 7 spot, there has actually never been a 5 seed to win the national championship. So, if you have one winning, I'd think again, because history normally tells a pretty solid story in March Madness. Number 6, so the 8th seed was the lowest seed ever to win in March Madness, and that was Villanova. So any seed below 8 is really hard to pick. So I just wouldn't recommend a seed below 8. Any seed 1 through 4 or 6 through 8 is, it's a champion that could happen. Not likely for 6 through 8, but it could. And 1 through 4, that's most likely going to be the champion. In the number 5 spot, so you know what the odds are filling out a perfect bracket? 1 in 9 quadrillion, 223 trillion, 372 billion, 36 million, 854,000, 775, 808. Sorry, that's quintillion. 9 quintillion, 223 quadrillion, 372 trillion, 36 billion, 854 million, 775,808. So that means if, let's say, about 9.2 quintillion brackets were filled out, only one of those would be perfect. And the odds of winning the lottery? 1 in 100 million. So, you could win a lot of lotteries in the time it takes you to fill out just one perfect bracket. So don't go crazy gambling on the odds you'll get a perfect bracket. In the number 4 spot, so the record number of overtimes in a single game is 4. That happened twice. And I'm just thinking about how long that game took. 4 overtimes, and also how equally matched the teams were that day. 4 overtimes. In basketball you get a whole overtime period and you play it through to see who's leading. And normally it only takes 1 or 2, but 4 is ridiculous. And number 3, I'm sure most of you know this, but a 16 seed has never beaten a 1 seed. And we all love picking upsets, but this is stretching it a little. History tells a pretty solid story, so if you plan to pick this, I wouldn't suggest it. Number 2, so 35 schools have won March Madness, but it started in 1939. So that's basically that's 88 years, I believe now. Hold on. Yeah, that's about 88 years, and only 35 schools have won it, which means there are a lot of repeat champions, but the same collection of teams win it. So I would look at a list of champions, because outside of that list, it's not rare. It's not a team doesn't win. Outside of that list, it's not easy for a team to win. And to the number 1, UCLA leads titles with 11, and Kentucky is second with 8. So UCLA is kind of getting a hot underdog pick this year. I wouldn't call them an underdog with all their history, but UCLA is going to be a hot underdog pick. So I would look out for them. And so here's some tips to improve your bracket selections. So this is the Near Beer Showtime 1 tips for picking a winning bracket. So the first pick, just don't pick a 16 over a 1. I want it to happen, you want it to happen. Well, not to the team who you plan to win or someone like that, but like the odds of that happening are so slim, so I just wouldn't suggest it. Number 2, so make sure there are upsets in your bracket. Not like 9s over 8s or 10s over 7s. No, like big upsets, like 13s over 4s, 14s over 3s, maybe a 15 over 2, but there are upsets that happen every year. Like last year, a 14 seed beat a 3 seed. A lot of 3 seeds went out early, so just make sure there are upsets in your bracket. And if you're on a website or if you just want to print out many brackets, fill out more than one bracket and make a joke one. Because last year, I think I made a joke one, and that turned out to be like 84% correct. So, like, who knows? Like, a lot of upsets can happen. That might be your best one. So, just fill out a joke deck and have some fun with that, or a joke bracket and have some fun with that one. So, in terms of actual teams, I wouldn't recommend Kansas and Gonzaga for the championship. When the stakes are on them, they choke a lot. Especially Kansas. Like, yes, they have won, but like, they won about 10 or 20 years ago, but like they were seeded high last year, but they didn't do much. And Gonzaga always is an underdog, but always goes out early. I wouldn't recommend either of them for the championship. And in my 5th tip, Butler and UConn are great underdog picks. They are solid. Number 6, in the last 5 years, there have been no repeat winners. And so, maybe you want to go with an outside team. I don't know, but that's just something you should know. In the last 5 years, there have been no repeat winners. The 7th one is Duke is a hard team to pick against, but not a team I'd put in the championship. Mainly because, A, Duke is a hard team to pick against because their coach is insane. I don't know how to pronounce the name. I'm going to call Krzyzewski. I think it's Krzyzewski. It's hard to go against him. He's one of the best college coaches ever. But every year it seems like they're going to make the championship, but they never do. I mean, they have won it recently, but like that's not a team I would put in the championship. Hope you guys did enjoy. Please consider subscribing, liking, and leaving a comment about your March Madness predictions. I'm filming this at about 5:30 on Selection Sunday, so I actually don't know what the seedings are, but hope you guys did enjoy. Leave a like, subscribe, comment, all that, and see ya.